Hey, what's up, guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. It is now 2021, so Happy New Year's to you all. So what I wanted to do today is actually show you how to do ultimate bosses. I figured it's a good way to showcase both the team, the setup, and also how ultimate bosses work for those of you who may be new or who've never encountered one. The thing is, when I first tried this, I actually encountered an ultimate boss, and then I saved it, but then it timed out. I didn't realize that it actually timed out even if you don't start it for the first time. And so now that I've encountered a boss in the Crusade that will give me the ultimate boss, I thought that I would, do the recording now so that I don't lose the opportunity. And so when you see Cosmic Patron show up in your Crusades, this is when you know you're going to be summoning an ultimate boss. And so I have one queued up right now, and I'm just going through the Crusade levels, and then we will go ahead and get started on the ultimate boss. I'll also take this opportunity to talk about the team, the setup I'm using, and then you can see the team that I'm using to take down the bosses, and then we can talk about the various different levels. So we're just gonna go through the Crusade right now. Now, the team I'm using for Crusades is a little bit different than the one I use for solo bosses and for guild bosses and also for ultimate bosses. So I can show you right now. I'm using Immolating Fae, the Altian's New Guard, which is the current ultimate form, and then the ultra rare card. Now, if you have 2 copies of the ultra rare card, it's actually going to be better for you to use them because of the 13 times commander bonus and also the damage boost that you get. Immolating Fae is good for dispelling things like thorns, so if you get hit by thorns, it actually is very helpful. But Exalted Champion, which I'm also using, gives you 100% damage boost, which is better than Immolating Fae. Now, the 5th card I have on my team is the Culinary Kings. What it will do is it will upgrade all of the power gems on the board by 2, and so that gives you a pretty good damage boost as well, so that you'll be able to deal more damage when you go up against the bosses. But I'm going to show you a different setup that I have that I'm using, and let's go ahead and take a look at that now. So after you defeat the Crusade level with Cosmic Patron in there, then you're going to see the reward for Ultimate Boss, and what you're going to see is actually going to be a token. So you see the summoning token as you go through them. Then there's the ultimate boss. So once you get it, you have to go in and fight it basically right away if you don't want to lose the opportunity, because it will time out. I sat on the screen for more than 5 minutes and I ended up losing that boss, so that was unfortunate. All right, so let's go in and we're going to select the team that we're going to use. And so you can see that the timer has gone down now, has started. It's a 5-minute boss, and it will go up every level after you defeat it. And the team I'm using contains a Circuit Break Hilaria, which gives you an arcane boost, and I'm using Exalted Champions here. Like I said, if you have a 2nd copy of Ultra Rare card, it is going to be better for you. And the Altian's New Guard, Knight Commander Grasp, which is the Ultra Rare card. Sorry, if you have the Ultra Rare card, the 2nd copy of it, you should put it in here as the Exalted Champions. And then Culinary Kings for the 5th card. As far as relics go, I'm using all of the Fire Commander relics that give me arcane boost, and also breaks a shield. Also, if you have off the chainsaw, this one will break 2 arcane shields. So if you have that, you should use it for your regular bosses, because it is going to help you break more shields. All right, so level 1 ultimate boss, from level 1 to level 5, if you have a event team, it's going to be relatively straightforward. You can 1-key this actually and still be able to get 500% overkill. So he has 1 trillion health to start, which can be difficult if you don't have the event team at all. But if you do, this should be relatively simple, especially if you have the right combination. And so in this case, the first thing with Hilaria is you need to have at least 8 power gems on the board in order for you to get the boost. And so right now there's only 7 power gems because of the gem crush. So what you do is you activate one of the cards first, and then you go ahead and activate Hilaria. Finally, you want to activate your Culinary Kings last. And if you do it this way, then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to get the maximum amount of damage boost. And we can see with 1 key here, I'm well over the 500% threshold. Okay, and we can see how much damage we can actually deal with a single key there, and you can see that I can deal about 197, 198 trillion with that single key. So what we're going to do is we're going to continuously go through the boss levels here, and I will skip through some of the levels until we get higher up, because the strategy is going to be a little bit different as you go up. But you can see that each level that you go up by, you're going to see some health increase, and then at some point it is going to be much more difficult for you to get the 500% bonus. And in fact, up until at least levels I think 15 or 16, you're not gaining as many points as you would a regular solo Corellian boss. But because you're able to continuously fight these bosses, it is a very good way to get trophies. So you can see for the first few levels, it's going to be played exactly the same way. And so it is, that's why I say it's relatively straightforward if you have the event team. Now, when you move up to the next levels, what you're going to see, and I'm going to show, is the benefit of the skill from the ultra rare card and also the ultimate form, which is Last Stand. So I didn't talk about Last Stand in my preview video, but it's a really strong skill because it gives you 2 revives. And so you can see here with the ultimate form, you have the regular revive, and then you have Last Stand. It doesn't actually activate at the same time. So the first time you lose all of your health, the regular passive ability Phoenix Step comes in. And then the second time you die, then Last Stand ability kicks in. So what that means is you have 2 chances to revive with a single card. And the second time you revive, you get an additional damage boost. And so this also works really well. This team works really well in guild versus guild fights. In guild versus guild fights, if you can survive twice and you have an additional damage boost, you're going to be able to take down most of the defenders, because usually if you make one mistake, you die one time, but this gives you an opportunity to die twice. All right, so now we finished 3 levels. We're going to skip over to the next level until we see a boss that is higher health, until we start having to use different strategies. So let's take a look. So actually, before we do that, I wanted to also show you one quick trick, and that is when you defeat a boss, a new wave will always show up. So a new level will continue to spawn. And when you're within the fight, one of the things you could do is, as soon as the boss is dead and before the claim screen shows up, if you quit the app and then come back in, then when you go back into the game, you're going to see this screen instead. So what you can do is, this will give you the chance to wait a little bit, because then you can come back, then you claim the boss. And after you claim the boss is when the new 5-minute timer will start for your new boss. So you can see now I can go ahead and tap to start a battle, and then the timer has started there. So if you need to take a break, then between bosses, right before you take it down, that's when you're going to want to, right before you take it down, exit the app so you can take a little bit of a breather before you come back in. So now we're at level 7. It's not quite that high, but I can start doing a little bit of a different, if I wanted to guarantee myself a 200% damage, 500% overkill, I'm going to show you a different way I play right now. And so this is now taking advantage of the arcane intensity. So I'm using arcane relics. And so this is going to give me the intensity I need. So the higher the intensity I have, the more damage boost, attack boost I'm going to get from Hilaria. And because I'm also hit with Thorn right now, you'll also be able to see the Last Stand coming into play. And so what I'm doing here is, while I'm waiting and I'm getting hit by Thorn, that's okay, because I'm basically, I'm basically just going to use up my second revive so that I can have my Last Stand available. So you can see this is now an option for me, and I'm going to get hit, and then I'm going to revive. Now, I could actually wait one more turn because there's no Thorn, so I can afford to wait at least a turn or 2 before I need to use it. But now that there's Thorn, I can no longer wait. And so I'm going to go ahead and activate all of my skills to make sure I have at least 8 power gems on the board. And then I'm going to activate all of my skills. And you can see how much extra damage I'll be able to deal with this. And I'm actually not going to be able to match all of the power gems there, but I think I should be okay. So you can see here, I deal way more damage. You can see a single card now was able to deal over 400 trillion, whereas before on turn 0, my total damage was just below 200 trillion. And so you can see as the intensity goes up, your damage will go much higher. It is capped though. It is capped at over 5,000% attack increase, but we haven't reached that point yet. And so you can see just how big of a difference Hilaire really makes. Now let's take a look at a higher level where I'm going to start needing to use 3 keys. And you can see right now, we're now at level 13. I'm going to start using 3 keys here. I'm just going to quickly show you. At level 13, you know, at this point, I can still go on turn 0, activating exactly in the same sequence as when I was using 1 key, because I'm able to deal enough damage to still get the 500% overkill when it's around, you know, at below 100 health, 100 trillion health, because I'm able to deal still a little bit more of that, even, you know, even if you multiply that health by 500 times, by 500%. And so up until level 13, 14, it should be pretty straightforward. If you're not saving keys, just go ahead and use your 3 keys and go all the way up until you can't one-shot it anymore. That's when you're going to have to start playing a little bit differently. All right, now we're on to level 19 of the ultimate boss. I would say about level 18 is when I am at the point where I won't be able to get the 500% overkill anymore with my setup. I think it's still possible if you have 2 ultra rares instead of just the 1, but I'm going to show you how I play this at this point. And so I'm going to be taking advantage of you know, everything I can to chip down the damage first, and I'm going to start by activating my 3 cards. I'm not going to activate Culinary Kings just yet, because I don't want to you know, end up dealing too much damage that by the time I'm ready, I actually take out the boss. Although at level 19, you probably don't need to worry about this anymore. You could probably activate everything all at once. They all have a 3-turn cooldown, and so you should be just fine. And we're also going to be getting hit by thorns quite a bit. So there's Might and Thorn, and there's also Chaos. So Chaos is not that big of an issue because I'm not really worried about losing my gems here, but Thorns is what's going to end up, you know, taking your health down really low before you have a chance to really save up your intensity. But since we don't have any issues right now, we still have a lot of health. We're going to go ahead and just repeat what we just did. The goal here is to reduce the initial health of the boss as much as you can before you go for your big hit, because you want to now try to go for you may not be able to get the 500% overkill, but you want to try and get the next level so that you can get as much reward as you could. And so we're gonna just continue to wait here, and we may not actually we may actually run out of time before we die. But now that we got hit by thorns, maybe that's okay. So sometimes it actually isn't a bad idea to be hit by thorns, because I want to die twice. And the time it takes for me to die twice, I could actually get my intensity pretty high. I think the goal is to get it to about close to 500 intensity, and you should be able to go to max. I can't remember the exact number, but it's just below 500 intensity. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just going to let ourselves get hit a couple more times, and then we're going to activate our last stand, and that's where we're going to be able to do our biggest amount of damage here. And so we're going to get hit twice before we revive, I think. Yeah, so we're going to get hit at least one more time before we revive, but there is also thorns that we have to worry about. And so let's go ahead and activate after we revive and see how much damage we can do. So at this point, I think I could still survive one more, but I don't really have the time anymore for it either. And so in the interest of making sure that you can get your attack in before timeout, just go ahead and activate at this point. And so we're going to go ahead and do our gem swap, power gem swap, and we'll see how much damage we can deal with 3 keys attack at 384 intensity. And so we were able to do about 2.2 quadrillion damage in this case, and we're able to get the 200% overkill. And that gets us 412 trophies plus everything up to that point. And so that is how, even if you can't get the 500%, getting the 200% overkill is still going to be really good. And so let's keep going here. After this point, from level 20 onwards, I think I can still do it, but at about level 23 and 24, you're going to have to start doing multiple attacks. And so what I'm going to show you is how you would do this. And I'm going to use level 20 as an example. So what you want to do is you want to activate your your damage output as early as you can. And in this particular case, I'm doing on turn 0, but I think the best is actually to do it on turn 4. And so you can see here what I've done is I've activated all of my skills, and then I'm gonna show you how this would work. You would go until you couldn't go anymore, and then you would quit the battle, and you come back in and be fresh, ready to go again. This is not so that you can get the overkill, but just so that you could take out the boss. At level 23 and 24 and so forth, the boss is going to have 3 to 5 quadrillion health, and so just trying to take it down is going to take multiple hits. So at that point, you're not worried about overkill anymore. Instead, you're focused on trying to take the boss down. But in this case, at level 20, we could still get our overkill. We can use the same strategy that we used in the previous level, so that we can get to our 200% overkill. So to get 200%, we need to have a total of 3 quadrillion. And in order to do that, we do need to have our double revive. So we're going to wait until our last stand kicks in, and then we will see if we can get to that level. And I'm not activating my skills anymore because I don't want to accidentally take out the boss before I get any overkill, because that's going to not, because then I will be losing trophies. You want to maximize your trophies whenever you can. Okay, and so we're going to we're going to revive one more time after this, and we do have some time, so that we could try and get our intensity a little bit higher. We're just at 192 right now. Last time when I was able to do about 2 quadrillion or so, my intensity was at about 300-ish. And so that was, a big difference there. And so given this, I have a lot of time. There's 21 turns, last 21 turns, so I have a lot of time right now until I get hit by Thorn, and I haven't, so I'm going to wait at least one more round. Right, I want my intensity to be as close to max as I can before I unleashed everything, just so that I could really build up my damage, so that I can try and get my 200% overkill. And so we're at 320 now. We have about 7 game seconds remaining. That means I could still do at least one more. Okay, so we're going to activate after this one, and let's see if we can get our damage to where we need it to be. And so let's go ahead and make sure, again, you want to make sure you have at least 8 power gems. So sometimes activating 2 cards first before activating Hilaria is not a bad idea. And then go ahead and activate the Culinary Kings last. Then finally go ahead and do our gem match here. This may not be as high a damage as I did last time because of the way the gems work together. And you can see it's not quite there. Like, I don't know if I got my 2 quadrillion here. And so we missed our 200% just by a little bit, but it is going to get to a level where, this is what you're going to have to do. Eventually, you're going to be focused on just taking down the boss to get the finisher bonus, but you're going to be collecting a lot of trophies in that way. And so this is how you would deal with ultimate bosses. From levels 23 and 24 onwards, you would do your big attack for as long as you can, and then quit out and come back in and do another quick hit and go exit and come back in again. Some bosses might require 3 to 4 hits to take down, but time yourself so that you know how to take the boss down within the 5 minutes window, and hopefully you'll be able to get as high as you can. So that's going to be it for me for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Happy New Year to everybody. Take care, and I'll see you next time in the event preview. Bye now.